It's playoff time. We got Tuesday's edition of Yesterday in Baseball here for you guys. My name is Luke, and today we've got 4 postseason games on the docket. We got Detroit at Cleveland, San Diego at Chicago, Boston at the Yankees, and Cincinnati at the Dodgers. And we're going to go into every single one of these series, look at them as a whole, talk about who we think is going to win, how they're going to win it. We're going to go through our postseason bracket, fill that out alongside with you guys. Then we'll talk a little bit about the action tonight and get you on your way so you can enjoy 4 games of baseball today, all playoff baseball. So should be fun. I'm excited to talk about it with you guys. So without further ado, we'll hop into Detroit at Cleveland and break that down. Leading off action at 1 o'clock Eastern today, we have Detroit traveling to Cleveland. Game 1 where Tarik Skubal is going to be taking on Gavin Williams. The projected rotation for Detroit is going to be Tarik Skubal, Jack Flaherty, and Casey Mize. Now, them as a team, they've pitched to a 4.78 ERA, and they have the 24th ranked offense in September. I think for them, the keys to this series is they can't press. I know that they've been struggling, and it's easy to. So just trust the offense has done it all year. They've struggled a little bit down the stretch, but just trust that you're that same squad that can get it done. And try to strike early, get the crowd out of it. But it'll be interesting. They've been a great team. They've got a good roster. They just struggled at the wrong time, so we'll see if they can shake all that off. On the Cleveland side, their projected rotation is Gavin Williams, Tanner Bybee, and Sissoni. We've got those guys projected by their team to go games 1, 2, and 3. Detroit hasn't set theirs for games 2 and 3 yet. Now in September, we've talked again about their starting pitching and how great they've been. They've had an MLB best 2.61 ERA as a squad and the 6th best offense in September. I mean, that's the perfect winning combination there. So yeah, their keys to victory is just starting pitching, keep on rolling, keep doing your thing because it's been working. And get to the bullpen with a lead. I was just talking about that with the starters, but I mean, all of their pitching staff has been great, and you can trust both sides here. You only need a couple runs of run support in this series, most likely. It's not going to be a slugfest, so just trust your pitching. Kwan's going to get on. J-Ram's going to knock in some runs. You know, they're going to get it done if they need to. So, I don't know. In this series, I think I like Cleveland. I like their momentum. And for them to go on that magical run and play a game right after and have their crowd on their side, I think that's big. But, I mean, who knows? Skubal could really get out to a great start and shut them down. And we've seen it before. It's really easy for teams to get swept in these series. So, we'll see. I like Cleveland here, but I'll have to give my actual prediction here at the end of the show. Next up, we have San Diego traveling to the Chicago Cubs, playing at Wrigley Field this afternoon. Nick Pivetta versus Matthew Boyd on the bump for Game 1. The projected rotation for San Diego is Nick Pivetta, Dylan Cease, and Yu Darvish. They've got a 3.62 team ERA and the 10th best offense in September. They weren't great year-round, but they've gotten it done lately. The keys, though, their bullpen is elite. They need to shorten games with that. Get your starter to go 5, maybe even 4 if you need it, but I mean, they have quite a few guys that could be closers on any team. Let those guys come in, shut down the game, you know, against a good Cubs offense. So, and trust your experience. A lot of those guys have been there before. This Cubs team hasn't been there since 2020. So, use your experience to your advantage. Now onto the Cubs side, their projected rotation is Matthew Boyd, Shota Imanaga, and Cade Horton. They got a 3.46 team ERA, slightly better than San Diego, and the 11th best offense in September. So really, in terms of what have you done for me lately, they're very equal in that sense. The Cubs have been the better team year-round. But, you know, get after the starting pitching. That's the thing for for the Cubs, because that bullpen is going to be lights out. And speed kills. You got Pete Crow Armstrong out there in the base pass, Nico Horner. Try to use that to your advantage. So, in this one, I like the Cubs. They're just a more well-rounded team, home field advantage, but it really is anyone's game. Next up, we have the familiar foes of Boston at the Yankees. Game 1 tonight, Garrett Crochet versus Max Fried. Projected rotation, Garrett Crochet, Brian Bayo, and there was no confirmation on that third or even any sort of speculation. 4.26 starter ERA for Boston, which isn't great, and the 18th best offense in September with a 99 WRC plus. I think for them, yeah, try to get the Yankees starting pitching out of the game, as they've been pretty elite lately, and utilize their speed once again, kind of like the Cubs. They have a lot of guys hit on Rafaela, Story stolen 30 bags, so I think that could be a way to kind of try and play small ball a little bit in that small ballpark. Now with the Yankees, they got Fried, Rodon, and Schlittler going. Now they have a 5.13 relief pitcher ERA in the last month. That's really not great. Their starting pitching has been just about the best it can be, though. But yeah, they have the second best offense in September, so they're slugging it. They just want their starters to go out there and shove, and Fried has done that. He's been really good this year against Boston. As in 3 starts against the Red Sox, he's got a 1.96 ERA, so if they can jump out to that lead, thanks to him shutting it down, and just roll from there, I think it could be, they could be in a good position. But if you're watching any of these games in the series and the Yankees are up, don't tune out, because those bullpen innings are going to be a little bit rocky for them. And Boston, they have the offense capable of mounting a comeback. So we'll see. Should be a fun one. I kind of have Boston in this one, but the Yankees at home, that could be interesting as well. Now, lastly, it's the game that comes on at 9 Eastern time tonight. Cincinnati at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Cincinnati just snuck in on the last day on Sunday. Now, tonight we've got Hunter Green going versus Blake Snell. The projected rotation, we've got Hunter Green, Zach Littell, and Andrew Abbott. They have the 13th best starter ERA and the 21st best offense in September. They haven't really been swiping bags either. They're the 21st in that. I think the keys for them is just to play loose. You know, they're a young team. They're inexperienced. Kind of use that to your advantage. Don't let the moment get the best of you. Just be like, we probably shouldn't be here with the Mets and everything this year. So just go out there and play like you got house money. And let the bats come alive. Again, watching them this year, they have a crazy offense. They give up, or they put up 10 and then they go and put up 0. And it's, let today be the day you put up 10. That's the hope for them. Now onto the Dodgers side, the projected rotation, we have Blake Snell, Yoshi Yamamoto, and then they announced that Ohtani would likely be the starter for Game 3, so I'm kind of hoping for a Game 3. Now, the Dodgers have a 2.07 starting pitching ERA in September, and they've got the 4.90 bullpen ERA, so it's really going to be starting pitching needs to get it done for them. Bullpen, kind of the same as the Yankees. No lead feels safe with them. They've given up a lot of late games, a lot of comebacks this year, and that's kind of why their record isn't better than it should be. They've got the 4th best offense in September. They can slug it. They can hit it around. Hunter Green throws hard. Dodgers hit the ball far. Should be an interesting combo. And I think the key is, to just put the pressure on Cincinnati. Go up a couple runs, whatever, and let them push. Let them try to play bigger than themselves and play up to the moment. You know, that might, who knows how that'll go, but an inexperienced squad with just a few kind of postseason players with experience, I really think that the Dodgers have the upper hand in this one and will take the series. But again, it's postseason baseball. It can kind of be a crapshoot, so who knows? That's the fun of it all. All right, with all those wildcard series broken down, I hope you guys are ready to go for the games today. And now we can hop into my predictions of this postseason bracket, and we'll talk through it all. So we'll start off in the American League. We're going to lead off with the first game from today, and that'll be Detroit at Cleveland. Again, this series is incredibly close, and we watched essentially a playoff series do or die between these two teams earlier last week in Cleveland also. And I just think Cleveland has so much momentum. Their pitching has been amazing, especially their starting pitching. Their offense has been doing enough and just more than the Tigers. The Tigers, they clinched, but they really haven't had much to celebrate about. The vibes seem kind of low. And I just think that Cleveland's pitching and their bullpen is just going to be able to shut them down. And I know, with Tarek Skubal, anything can go, but I'm going to have to go Cleveland in this first wildcard series. Next up, we have Red Sox and Yankees. I know we just talked about all these, and I really do think that the Red Sox have a bit of the edge here. The Yankees statistically have been better. They've had trouble kind of really getting it done in the postseason. I know last year they made it to the World Series, and I think their team is better this year. But the Red Sox just kind of have, I don't know, I think their stolen bases makes them a little bit more interesting. Their relief pitcher ERA is one of the best in the league. The Yankees starters, yes, that's definitely better. They can hit for homers and get more runs and whatever, but I just think that if they can get out there, Crochet shuts them down, and that they can just get it to the bullpen with a 1-run lead, that they'll be good. And I think that they'll carry that momentum throughout the series. Bayo's been pretty solid. Rodon has been kind of erratic at times. I trust Boston more in this series. Now we'll go San Diego against the Cubs. The Padres, they've been good, but they just really haven't wowed me lately. And I just think that the Cubs are such a well-rounded team, arguably one of the most well-rounded teams in baseball. You know, maybe second only to the Brewers, but they do slug better than the Brewers. I think that they've kind of clinched for a while. They've been sitting for a little bit, but that home field advantage, those fans are going to be really ready to go, really excited for playoff baseball, create a good atmosphere for the Cubs. Matthew Boyd has been lights out. Nick Pivetta has been good, but not amazing against the Padres. And their whole rotation, I think that's the biggest concern for me with the Padres, is their rotation. I mean, their relief pitchers, everything, one of the best in the league. We get that. But I just think that the Cubs take it. They got a good offense. The rotation's been bad for the Padres, so that's what I'm going with there. Next up, we got those Reds traveling to the Dodgers. Those Dodgers, they're just a better roster. They're 10 games better in the final record. I mean, the Reds only won 83 games, and they very much limped in. You want to give them a chance because they're kind of the Cinderella story, but I just can't see a scenario where they beat the Dodgers. So Dodgers take this 1-2. Next up, we got the Blue Jays taking on the Red Sox. The Blue Jays, they're the 1 seed. They're kind of, in my mind, what I was saying, they might be kind of a fraudulent 1 seed. I don't know. The Red Sox, again, I think that they've just got so many ways to win. I could be very much delusional, but I like their roster more. I think that they can win in more ways than the Blue Jays can. And in a best of 5, I would trust them, especially getting back to Fenway for a couple of games. So I got Boston going on to the ALCS. Now is where it gets really interesting. The Mariners and Guardians, both kind of some high momentum September darlings that just crashed onto the scene and played great baseball. It's tricky because Cleveland's pitching is kind of unsustainably good, and the Mariners' offense and everything was just also incredibly hot down the stretch. And I just think that kind of neither were playing in a sustainable fashion. The thing is, Seattle's going to be sitting for a week. Their offense is going to be slow. The pitching it'll come back easier. But I just honestly think that Seattle's pitching is good enough to where they can limit a not that scary Cleveland offense until however many games until Seattle's offense clicks back into form. Maybe that's 1 game, 2 games, whatever. I think this series goes 5, but I definitely think Seattle take this one. All right, so we've set ourselves up for a very exciting NLDS between the Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs. The Brewers will have 3 home games in this. Cubs would only have 2. I think this one goes 5 games. Again, very equal teams, very well-rounded teams. The Brewers have a bit of a better bullpen and a better starting rotation than the Cubs. Cubs can hit more homers. Their offenses are about the same. Fielding about the same. And stolen bases very similar again. It really can go either way. I think a lot of it would come down to how depleted the Cubs are coming out of the Wildcard series pitching-wise. Can the Brewers, they can line up all their starters. The Cubs can't quite do that, especially with their bullpen and everything. Who knows how taxed they'll be. But in these playoff series, you saw it last year with the Mets and the Brewers. You just need one big hit, one big long ball. The Brewers don't really have that. They really have to string together hits, which they can do, but this Cubs staff is pretty good. Same thing with the Brewers, but the Cubs, you really can see most of their guys in their lineup really just putting a charge into one and hitting a game-changing homer. So I feel like, in my mind, the Cubs just seem like the more complete team, the more well-rounded team, and the team that can ride the momentum if they win that wild card series again. It's a bit of a toss-up, but I would have to err on the Cubs to win this one. It's just a little bit more well-rounded and advancing on to the NLCS. And then the last of the divisional series, we have the Dodgers and the Phillies. The Phillies, they've been pretty solid all year. The Dodgers have gotten it done as well. And it's they're very similar teams. They hit for power, they get runs, they have good starting ERA, their bullpens are okay. Phillies swipe more bags, and the Dodgers are a bit better fielders. Phillies would have home field advantage, and that does mean something in my mind. They got some crazy fans over there. Dodgers, again, it kind of just depends if they're going to line it up with their pitching out of the wild card. The Phillies, they don't have Zach Wheeler, but they've got guys that can still get it done. It's hard with both of these bullpens, too. I think it's kind of a wild card because either team can kind of choke away the game in the bullpen. The Dodgers' offense, I think, is better, though. I mean, it is better. So, but they're both top 10 offenses. They're both great teams. And it sounds boring, but I feel like it's got to go Dodgers here. Again, I don't know how much momentum they'll be riding because it's the wild card series and they're kind of very much expected to win. It's not going to be like a miracle run, kind of like, Cleveland or whatever. But I just trust them more. Their starters, if they can line it up right, they are better and they are more reliable. And they can pare down their bullpen. And I just think, you're going to see Ohtani hit some big homers. They're going to get the line moving. So it's a tough one, but I have the Dodgers advancing on to the NLCS. All right, down to the final four here. We have Boston to Seattle. In our scenario here, Boston's traveled all the way from the wild card, and Seattle just took down the Guardians. And in my mental mind here, they've got Seattle. They've picked up the pace again. They're back on a roll. They got the fans on their side and the home field advantage. And I think that they are a better built team for the playoffs than the Red Sox. Just kind of point blank. I mean, their offense is fairly similar. The starters, fairly similar. Relievers, Boston's better. But I do say I think that the Mariners kind of get this one. It's 5 or 6 games. I don't know. I don't think it'll be a 7-game set. But I think they are a better team than Boston at this point in time. On to the NLCS, Cubs and Dodgers. It's going to be an interesting series between these two. The Cubs don't have the most high-powered starting pitching, but they do get it done. They do have that offense, and the Dodgers, they've been really good. I mean, they're probably going to have Kershaw out of the bullpen and all of that. But I think this one goes to the Cubs solely because they have very similar offenses and play styles. Starting pitching is good for both, but I just think that the Cubs, they have that bullpen, and in the postseason, a lot of it comes down to the bullpen and what you can do. And it's just kind of a drastic difference between the Cubs and Dodgers. I mean, it's not... The Cubs have like a top 5 bullpen all year, and the Dodgers, they've been bottom 10. So I just think that... And I know there was a little bit of my argument with the Phillies, but I just think the Cubs is that much better than both. They would have beaten the Phillies or the Dodgers. So we get a pretty wild World Series here with the Mariners against the Chicago Cubs. And even as a Cardinals fan, I might lose some Cardinals fans here, but I think that would be a pretty amazing World Series, Cubs versus Mariners. That's very entertaining, very fun. So with this one, I think, I don't know, the big three for both is interesting. Offense is high-powered. Thinking Big Dumper is going to have a couple big 2, maybe 3 homer games. Cubs offense is running all over the place. Very kind of similar teams in my mind. Mariners bullpen is maybe not as strong, but very similar teams. I think this one could go 6 or 7. And I think that Seattle gets the win. I like their offense more. I like their starting pitching more. The bullpen not as much, but I kind of agree that while the Cubs can win in more different ways, that I don't think that their starting pitching is going to hold up the entire playoffs flawlessly, and I think that the Mariners have the right kind of offense to expose that. That beginning 4 or 5 at the top of the lineup is just, it's lethal. I think if they're rolling, they're going to get it done and take down the Cubs. So I'll say Mariners in 6 we'll go with. So there it is. According to me, the Seattle Mariners will be 2025 World Series champions. I did have a good bracket last year, but this year feels a lot more kind of chaotic and crazy, so I don't expect that to be perfectly accurate. But it would be an entertaining World Series. Sign me up for that. So thank you for coming along on this little exercise. I know it was a little bit longer than I had anticipated, but I was doing it live. I wasn't pre-scripting it. I was going through. So yeah, thank you for sitting along with my thought process and all that. So enough with that. Let's get into our games today. We'll break down the starting pitching for each team. Kicking off playoff action today, we have Detroit at Cleveland at 1:08 Eastern Time. Tarek Skubal going against Gavin Williams. In 4 games, Skubal has a .064 ERA against Cleveland this year, including 1 complete game shutout. And Gavin Williams has a 1.06 ERA in 3 outings against Detroit in 2025. Cleveland is 8-5 against Detroit this year, so should be an interesting matchup. Both pitchers have been great. San Diego Padres take on the Cubs at 3:08 Eastern Time. Nick Pivetta has a 4 ERA and 10 strikeouts in 2 outings. Matthew Boyd has a 2.13 ERA in 2 outings against the Padres, so should be pretty interesting over there. 3-3 record between these two teams, so very evenly matched. Should be interesting again. Boston at the Yankees, kickoff at 6:08 Eastern Time. In 4 starts, Crochet has a 3.29 ERA against the Yankees. Max Fried has a 1.96 ERA in 3 games against the Sox. They are 9-4 against the Yankees this year. And then at 9:08 Eastern Time, we have the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers faced Green last month and knocked in 5 runs on 6 hits against them. And LA is 5-1 against the Reds this year. No Kershaw in this series as he pitched Sunday. Should be an interesting matchup. That's the action happening today, starting at 1 o'clock and probably be wrapping up around 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Full day of postseason baseball. So that's everything from today. I hope you guys are as excited as I am. As sitting here, I've got a little bit over an hour before the first game starts. Feel free to follow along on YouTube and Spotify. On YouTube, I'll be uploading little highlights as each game kind of goes along. And comment below who you think is going to win it all. Should be fun. Please like the video if you've made it this far. I really appreciate it. And we'll be back tomorrow morning recapping each one of these games a little bit more in depth than your regular season action. So thank you again, and please enjoy the games today. Should be fun.